Hello, my name is Tara Springett. I am a Kundalini therapist and a Buddhist teacher, and today I would like to talk to you what not to do during the Kundalini Syndrome problems. I've been myself in the Kundalini process for nearly 30 years. I've had numerous problems myself, but I didn't have anybody to guide me like I want to guide you now. And so I hope you will benefit from this video. First of all, I've said already in my other videos, it is important to slow down spiritual practices, because the spiritual practice is fanning the Kundalini. So that's the most important thing I want to say, what you should not do, and that is to have lots and lots of spiritual practice, because it would just aggravate you. Another thing that you have to be very cautious about is to who you talk about these Kundalini problems, because a lot of people, family members, also priests, doctors, psychiatrists, are very fast to jump to the conclusion that you might have gone mad, and that's really the last thing you need to hear. So when you talk to family members, be aware that a lot of people will get quite frightened, or your friends obviously, that they very quickly have ideas like either you've gone mad or you've been possessed by a demon, and that is really not the thing that you need to hear, because neither of that is true. And so you need to be very choosy who you open up to about your Kundalini problems, and only talk to people who are quite open-minded and who are supportive of the spiritual, and who are really themselves not very afraid of things like demons and stuff like that. The same goes to say for doctors and psychiatrists. During the time that I've been working now with Kundalini clients, I've had like two clients telling me that they actually found psychiatrists, it's not true, three, who had psychiatrists who knew about the Kundalini process, but one of these clients was wrongly diagnosed then. The psychiatrist said this is not Kundalini Syndrome, because even though he had the most picture book-like symptoms of Kundalini Syndrome that I've ever seen in a client. So how he could fail to see that that is a par excellence Kundalini Syndrome, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that most doctors, most psychiatrists have never heard about these things, and they very quickly want to give you prescription drugs which will only aggravate you further. So one of the psychiatrists that one of my clients talked to, he clearly said that prescription drugs and Kundalini problems, they don't really mix. It will not do anything for you. If anything, it will make you worse. So that is something to be very aware of before you actively seek help from a psychiatrist. I don't want to discourage anybody to see a doctor. Of course, you need to get checked out, see if there's something physically wrong with you. But do not be surprised if you don't find the help from these places that you ideally would hope to get. Now, unfortunately, the same can be said about members of a traditional religion, and that is unfortunately also true for religions that teach meditation, like Buddhism and Hinduism. That often many teachers who teach meditation, they do not know about the Kundalini, they don't know anything about Kundalini Syndrome, and they can offer you little or no help when you come to them with these problems. That has been a big disappointment for a number of my clients who maybe went to a meditation retreat, had a Kundalini awakening, then they went full of trust to their meditation teachers, and were then very badly disappointed that when they found these meditation teachers hadn't got a clue about what they were experiencing. So that's just a little warning that can happen, and that it's much better to go to somebody like myself, who is really qualified in this area, and hopefully also gone through this process themselves. By the way, I'm looking here on the pieces of paper that I've taken from my book that I've written about the Kundalini process, which is called Reaching Enlightenment Through the Path of Kundalini. And I'm reading here from the chapter number 6, which is all about how to deal with Kundalini problems. Yeah, so if you go to priests or vicars and so forth of traditional Kundalini, traditional religion, you may also find that they then say to you, you're possessed by demons or you need an exorcism and stuff like that. And that is also not true, and it might just aggravate you further, because Kundalini is not some sort of devil possession or anything like that. Another thing that I would want to warn about is reading too much about the Kundalini on the internet. There, quite frankly, is a lot of nonsense about the Kundalini on the internet. Some people who are, actually have mental illness or have some sex addictions, they present that as Kundalini, which it isn't. And then there are also lots and lots of horror stories that present the Kundalini as some sort of really horrific event, which is clearly absolutely not. The Kundalini is something positive. It has challenges, yes, but it is not a horror trip. So I strongly advise you not to read about these horrible stories on the internet. A lot of them are not true at all, and maybe if somebody had a lot of problems with the Kundalini, it's mostly to do that just didn't get the guidance, because if you get the guidance, then usually people feel better within weeks, really. And so that happens to my clients. Usually within a few weeks they feel a lot more stable, and then we sort out the different symptoms that might take a bit longer, and then within a few months they feel like they can cope by themselves. And another thing that I definitely warn against is going to energy healers. So in the Kundalini process, you have to be very careful who you allow to interfere with your energy system, because you're very raw, very sensitive, and you feel the energies of other people more strongly. And so if you let somebody interfere with your energies, it might not be very positive. And also a lot of these systems like Reiki, acupuncture and so forth, they are not invented for people with Kundalini problems. They are invented for regular people, and that do a good job there. But with Kundalini problems, these energy healings, they can often really backfire, and you should really stay away from them. And the same goes about breathing exercises. They can seriously aggravate everybody who is in the Kundalini process, and I would warn you against that. And anything to do with fast or deep breathing will definitely aggravate you, and I would say please don't do that. And the last piece of advice, what you should not do, is read excessively spiritual literature. Even though you might feel the great need for that and you want to do it, it is fanning the Kundalini. And if you're having problems and symptoms that you find hard to manage, then that would be something that you should postpone until you feel a bit more stable. Okay, I hope you liked the information. You can find more information in my book. The link you can find here, and you can also subscribe to my channel. The link you find up here. And if you like the info, please share it, leave a comment. I would really like that. And yes, thank you for listening.